About Arsenal, at the moment, appreciation for the player, yes. Discussions with the agents, yes. They still think about Eberechieze. Because for Eberechieze, they maintain good contacts with the agents, waiting to approach Crystal Palace, but Eberechieze remains a name very high on the list at Arsenal. The player is very keen on a move to Arsenal, and so Eberechieze remains a story that we have to keep close eye on in this final month of the summer transfer window.
Gyokeres, we got to see, Jules. On a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you that he can replicate his form that we've seen in Portugal at Arsenal?
It's hard to tell. I mean, the first thing is the excitement amongst Arsenal fans that they finally signed him and that he will be able to join up with the team. As we saw, he's already there on that pre-season tour in Southeast Asia, and then we will get to see him at some point very soon with that number 14. That's great. For the rest, there's obviously a lot of things here. The first thing is the Portuguese league is not as good as the Premier League, obviously. Sporting was playing in a different way, especially under Ruben Amorim than Mikel Arteta plays with Arsenal. But he knows English football. He speaks the language, which is very good. He's obviously been in the Premier League or around the Premier League and then in the Championship, obviously, where he made a real name for himself at Coventry before going to Portugal. He's that kind of striker that I think if you give him the right service, will score goals and goals and goals. So the adaptation is probably not as big as if he was a defensive midfielder like a Zubimendi, who will need to learn a lot of things in the Arteta style of football, maybe more than Gyokeres. It's a different profile to Kai Havertz. We said that too before on Friday night show. But yeah, it's impossible to say if he's going to score another 50 goals in a year or 40 or 30. I said 30 on Friday. Stevie was a little bit lower. It depends. But the one thing we know for sure is that he will have to hit the ground running straight away. Arsenal can't afford to have him needing 6 months to adapt. They need him to score now. He doesn't have to score 3 goals a game, but he will have to be good now, because otherwise, by the time he becomes good enough, they might be too far away from a Liverpool, a City, a Chelsea, or whoever are in front of them in the league. So they need him to perform as quickly as possible.
Just a logistic question here. For the record, was there a number there from Jules or not?
A scale of 1 to 10.
Yeah, a scale of 1 to 10. Was there an actual
Should we
number?
push him?
Well, I think so. I don't want to tell you how to do your job, Kay, but I think maybe we should.
Go on then, Jules. We're pushing you. 1 to 10.
I'm 7 out of 10 confident that he will be almost as good as in Sporting.
Okay. You know who's not going to be happy though, Ale?
Who's that?
We've done some digging. You know the set-piece coach.
Oh.
Arsenal.
Superstar.
Yep. Well, we decided to take a look at the last 2 seasons in League and UEFA competitions at Sporting.
Oh.
And there has only been 1 header.
Oh.
2 headers, sorry. In 2 seasons. 0 last season.
Oh.
Is this a cause for concern? This is a 6'2" striker.
Uh-huh. Well, let's not forget that we're talking about this on July 27th. So this is the July 27th special, and we're trying to figure out what Viktor Gyokeres is going to be for Arsenal, and how do these goals from Sporting translate into goals at Arsenal. Part of doing that is seeing what his skill set is, and you cannot argue against the numbers. The numbers are what they are. That is obviously not good productivity, being a header of the ball. It doesn't show that he is dominant in the air. And if we talk about a team that has depended heavily on the set-piece coach and the delivery of such set pieces from guys like Declan Rice and Martin Odegaard, they will depend on Viktor Gyokeres getting on the end of that service, which usually is with his head. If we follow this whole thought process, that number that you just shared with us, Kay, and thank you for doing the research, is damaging. It's damaging evidence. I don't think it says everything that we need to know about Viktor Gyokeres, but it's certainly something that points to an area of concern.
There's no big issue.
All on my own, without Shaka's algorithm. There's no issue?
No, I'll tell you why. Because I think Arsenal's set pieces, Gabriel is still the main actor. Everybody else is playing supporting roles in Arsenal's.
Oh, right, nice little analogy there.
So as a result, he's there again, not to lead in terms of Arsenal converting set pieces. He's there to pick up the pieces from the set pieces.
Oh, see, you started well with your analogies, and then you.
I thought I finished strong.
No.
I thought
You lost steam.
I wonder, is Jules staying at 7.5 after hearing the stats?
I got it sent today. But again, we talked about the way Sporting played, especially under Ruben Amorim. There was not too many crosses in the air. Set pieces was not their thing. So you can look at it that way. I'm sure Nicolas Jover, who is the set piece coach, the magician, will improve Viktor Gyokeres. And I think Saka is right too. I think he might be there just to block people and to be a nuisance for goalkeepers and defenders and let others who are maybe better in the air than him score the goals like Gabriel Magalhaes. So we'll see, but I'm not too worried about that.
Let me just say, for the center forward union, which I don't talk about all that often, but if I'm a 6'2" center forward and there are services coming into the box, the last thing I'm thinking about is setting picks for somebody else. No. My job is to score goals. And I'm big enough, tall enough, and strong enough to win headers. So while that may be the role of others at Arsenal, my role, if I'm Viktor Gyokeres, is to go and attack the ball. Never mind setting picks or getting on the way of goalkeepers and such.
He's setting picks.
What? You bought a guy this expensive to set picks?
He's setting picks. I guarantee it.
Can I just tell you? I used to set picks. That's why you use people like me. People like me that have no chance of scoring. You set picks, Alejandro. Viktor Gyokeres was not, should not, and will not be setting picks.
Deal confirm. Saka will love him. Arsenal reach agreement in principle to sign £68 million star. Arsenal signed Viktor Gyokeres from Sporting Lisbon for around £64 million last weekend, and Mikel Arteta's biggest issue has been solved. 97 goals and 28 assists across just 102 appearances for Os Leões is no small feat, and while the inevitable detractors will point toward the lower quality in the Liga Portugal than the Premier League will present him with, you need only look at his exploits in last year's Champions League, with Manchester City falling to the Swedish striker's sublime hat-trick. Now that the 27-year-old is ready to link up with his new squad for preseason training, Arteta and technical director Andrea Berta are ready to complete a summer of healthy spending with a creative player. Bukayo Saka is one of the best wingers in the world and won't be relinquishing his right-sided berth anytime soon, but with Leandro Trossard and Gabriel Martinelli both expendable, so say The Athletic, a left-sided addition could be on the cards. Arsenal's plans for a new winger. Someone like Rodrigo would be a welcome addition to the Emirates, and that's selling it short. He's been reported to be on the Emirates' radar. But he'll cost a pretty penny. The Brazilian, Newcastle United's Anthony Gordon has also been linked, but £100 million is laughable. Both players, it should be noted, are coming off 6-goal league campaigns. But there's another who's creeping closer to Arteta's circle. According to journalist Sebastian Vidal, Arsenal have reached an agreement in principle with Crystal Palace for the transfer of the 27-year-old Ibaraki, with the base layer of the financial package agreed. Vidal claims the Gunners would pay £30 million up front before meeting the remainder of the 27-year-old's £68 million release clause through installments and clauses. It's starting to feel like Arsenal will get this one over the line, and it would be a stunning acquisition. Here's why. Why Arsenal want Ibaraki. Admittedly, Eze isn't an out-and-out winger. For he has played plenty of football in the center of the park, thrusting forward with those electric strides, those tricky feet which outfox the steeliest of opponents. It was Eze who scored the winning goal as Oliver Glasner's Eagles beat Manchester City to lift the FA Cup in May, and it was Eze who scored in dominant victories over Fulham and Aston Villa in the quarters and the semi-finals, respectively, to put Palace in a position to win their first major honor ever. Glasner has preferred to use Eze centrally, and maybe Arteta will too, but the option for wide play is there. After all, he's as fleet-footed as they come, ranked among the top 10% of Premier League attacking midfielders and wingers last term for successful take-ons per 90, as per FBref. High-speed running and slick skills could make him the perfect counterpoint to Saka on the right. And that, in turn, would allow Gyokeres to find his free-scoring form at the front of the ship. Would it be fair to say that Saka and the £100,000 per week are tactically akin? Further, they are both physical machines, not brawny for the sake of muscle but athletic and strong and powerful on the ball. But, most importantly, they are both creative as they come, and that could play right into Gyokeres' hands or, rather, his feet. Gyokeres might be 27 and yet to test his skill in one of Europe's top divisions, but as we have already discussed, he's hardly untested against high-level opposition, hardly lacking the clinical shooting that surely would translate to the Premier League when flanked by the likes of Os and Saka. Both of these wide players are able to direct their playmaking prowess to a high volume with it risking the fluidity of their overall game. They are both complete in their performances, with Os actually being described as a magician by pundit Micah Richards for his technical quality. Let's make it clearer still. As per SofaScore, Gyokeres scored 45 goals across his Liga Portugal, winning the division for the second successive season in Champions League campaigns, and it has been recorded that he missed only 27 big chances. Regarded as a physical machine by his former Coventry City coach Adi Vivash, you'd wager that this combination of pace, power and potency would be enough to prevent him from falling by the wayside in an Arsenal shirt, at the very least. And that's without considering the support that Os and Saka would provide, though, luckily, we already have. Os, then, is a proven star across a number of years with Palace in the Premier League. Last season, he immortalized himself in South London by leading his team to the FA Cup trophy. Is he not ready to make the leap into the upper echelon of English and European football? Would the Three Lions star not be refined at 27 and able to bring instant effects to Arteta's project? Clearly, the club's Spanish tactician believes it is so. With Gyokeres at the focal point and Saka, while younger, at a level now where he plays with the silky grace and style of a seasoned veteran, there's surely every chance that the Gunners will take that final leap forward over the coming year and get their mitts on one of the biggest prizes. Arsenal working on payment structure of next deal as asking price ends. Hopes Arsenal are now gearing up for a pre-season date with North London rivals Tottenham as they continue to step up their preparations for the new season. Mikel Arteta and Andrea Berta have been busy men this summer, with new signings aplenty snapped up, and in pretty swift fashion on the whole. The Gunners may not be done, either, but departures are likely to be the main order of business in the near future. Here we round up all the latest news and transfer rumors surrounding the Emirates Stadium. Arsenal are still said to be working on a deal to sign Crystal Palace star Ibaraki Os, and they are currently said to be focusing on the terms of payment, having racked up a spending bill of more than £200 million so far this summer. According to Football Transfers, Os' £69 million release clause required an upfront payment of £30 million at a minimum, while the Eagles reportedly want the remainder of the fee paid in within a maximum of 2 years. Arsenal are said to Rodrigo deal dead. An Arsenal deal for Real Madrid winger Rodrigo looks to be off the table, with the Spanish giants said to be demanding a huge fee to sell their Brazilian. According to AS, Real Madrid will only consider a sale if they receive an offer in the region of £86 million this summer. There were reports Los Blancos were keen to sell Rodrigo earlier this summer, but it seems those reports are off the mark. Real Madrid are effectively saying they will only sell if they receive an offer that is too good to refuse. Arsenal may have another big singing left in them this summer, but it won't be one worth £86 million or anywhere close to that number. Arsenal boss Arteta was impressed by new signing Martin Zubimendi during the Newcastle United friendly win on Sunday. He said, "Very good. I think the demand that Newcastle put on you, especially in midfield, with the kind of plays and profiles that he had, I think he coped with it with intensity, with the physicality. He's so smart, he's one step ahead constantly, he can read situations, he can execute at higher speed, whether he has space or not. And that's not a common thing to have in a player, especially when you're a midfield player." On the physicality of the game, he added, "I think it's not a friendly, I think they are a test, and I think you have to take this as an opportunity as well to raise the competitive level, and there are things that physically obviously we want to achieve, but there are things in terms of how we compete, how we understand the position, and that willingness to win regardless of what we are playing for, and I love the mentality of the team in that sense." Arsenal ultimately won 3-2 in what was a good-looking friendly, especially for this early stage in the summer. Your next Arsenal read: Arsenal, agree initial fee, for next deal as rivals I striker deal. Arsenal receive major £78 million transfer boost as contact, continues with Ibaraki Os. Arsenal are enjoying one of their most proactive summer transfer windows in a long time as they look to unseat Liverpool in the Premier League. Arsenal's summer transfer window may not go any better than it has done as the countdown continues to the start of the Premier League season. Last week, the Gunners' top target in the window officially joined them as Viktor Gyokeres arrived from Sporting. His arrival is a huge statement of intent from Arsenal, who are looking to reward Mikel Arteta's rebuild with silverware this season. However, there is no suggestion that the market has shut for the Gunners at this stage, and that is reflected in the gossip surrounding the club in the media headlines. Football. London has taken a closer look at what is being said below. Arsenal players surprised by sudden departure as dressing room reaction revealed. Ibareki's to Arsenal transfer hint dropped as Andrea Berta one step closer to key agreement. According to his, Real Madrid are starting to soften their stance on the future of Real Madrid winger Rodrigo. Previously, Xabi Alonso's side have been reluctant to negotiate a price that was lower than his valuation of £78 million. But, it is claimed that Los Blancos are now willing to listen to offers below that price point, which will be seen as a boost for the Gunners. They would face strong competition to sign the Brazilian, though, with Liverpool, Bayern Munich, PSG and Manchester City all thought to be admiring him. What Florida says, signing Rodrigo, having spent big on Martin Zubimendi and Gyökeres this summer, would be a huge statement from Arteta and the Gunners. Considering it is Real Madrid they would be negotiating with, the price could be difficult to nail down. However, it must be remembered that Rodrigo has a preference to play on the left flank, which is fine by Arsenal considering Bukayo Saka is on the right. But, the Gunners would surely have to part ways with either Leandro Trossard or Gabriel Martinelli if they were to do a deal for the 24-year-old. According to Fabrizio Romano in his Give Me Sport column, Arsenal remain in contact with Crystal Palace's attacking midfielder Ibareki. However, there is not thought to have been any club-to-club talks at this stage. Having not made contact with Palace, Romano understands that Arsenal will now focus their attention on outgoings to make room for a potential bid for Ease in the future. What Florida says, a move for Ease this summer is exactly the sort of business that Arsenal should be doing. He has proven Premier League experience, has shown the sort of asset he can be at international level, and he would certainly strengthen the squad at the Emirates Stadium. Selling players is a good plan before making the move for Ease, considering they do not want a bloated squad, but if they can bring the England international in, that would be a tremendous piece of business.